What's up? Good morning, fam. Steve here. Welcome to my channel, Re-Vera. So I didn't upload a video yesterday. It was not because I was super depressed over Super Tuesday, if you were wondering. I've actually been really excited the last couple of days. And that's for a number of reasons, but I did want to talk about it because obviously Super Tuesday was a huge disappointment. The best case scenario for Bernie had him cleaning up so much that it pretty much becomes a shoo-in and he just like walks into the nomination. Like that was possible until everybody else except for Bloomberg and Warren dropped out. Now the good news is Bloomberg had about as much of a spoiling effect on the election as Warren did. So I think the two canceled each other out to some degree, and now both Bloomberg and Warren have dropped out. It is truly a two-person race. I mean, there's other people still in there. Tulsi's still in for some goddamn reason. But it's basically Biden and Bernie. And that's about as good as we can hope for. I think it's very important psychologically to not become too invested in things outside of your control. This is why it's so important to do everything you can do so you have no regrets later. All you can do is all you can do, but all you can do is enough. And if it's not enough to actually win in a big thing like this, it's enough for you because we did all we could. So it's not over yet. It's a two-person race between the populist candidate and the establishment candidate. And the establishment candidate's about as weak as we could hope for. I mean, freaking Joe Biden, man. He's clearly started some mental decline. While Bernie's sharp as a tack, there's still debates to go. I cannot wait to see a two-person debate between Bernie and Biden. I do not think it goes well for Biden. So I still have quite a bit of hope that we can get this thing locked up. But all we can do is all we can do. So don't get so invested in things that outside of your control that it like ruins your life that we lose an election. Because it's outside of our control. Now, I was excited because I went back to thinking the way I was before. I had this whole plan for my channel and for what I was trying to achieve in life and the world. And I've been thinking about it for years and years, most of my life, really. And I'm very excited about it. I think it gives us a way to protect ourselves no matter what happens with the government and politics. Because a lot of the people on the left seem to rely on the government too much. And what if we can't change the government? Well, we can't just give up and eat the black pill and give up on our lives. We have to find other ways to try to achieve similar ends. So that's a project I've been working on, and it was exciting to me because I kind of went back to thinking it. I was like, so what if Bernie loses, Biden wins the nomination, and he loses to Trump? That's the worst case scenario. According to 538, Biden now has a better chance than Bernie of winning the nomination. We'll see if that actually holds true after he gets slaughtered in debates and, Bernie's finally getting a little bit more aggressive on his record. So, it's anybody's race, and I'm quite optimistic about it. But if it goes the other way, we need to have a plan. So I'm not going to talk about all my plans for the future. It's kind of detailed, and if I just do a spitball version of it, a lot of people will probably brush it off. So I really want to build up to it and sketch it all in so people can understand what the plan is. But for now, we got to fight for Bernie, because whether or not we can control the whole election, we can sure as heck have a huge impact. So it is time to keep doing all we can do so that we don't have regrets later, because it is far from over. They're basically tied. There's 2/3 of the delegates yet to win. Bernie has every chance in the world of winning this. And at the end of the day, if we all fight for Bernie and he doesn't win, I mean, the United States, I guess, doesn't deserve him. I guess we deserve to fall into fascism. What else can you say? The people chose. Now, obviously, there's the establishment is rigging it, but they're not going to stop. This is a factor we have to take into account. And that's something that my thinking has been taking into account. But I did want to say, from a strategic angle, as you're out there, now that it's Bernie versus Biden. I was listening to the Young Turks on Super Tuesday, and their centrist guy, whatever his name is, was talking about what his advice for Bernie would be, and I agreed with it. Now, we can't control what Bernie does, but for you and me, as we go out and talk to Biden supporters, I think it's very important for us to understand why people support Biden so that we can move them to Bernie. And the reason they support Biden, like the only reason, is because they think he's the safe choice. People are motivated by fear. They hate Trump, they fear Trump, they want somebody who can beat Trump, and they want to return to normalcy. You know, having another old white man in charge that's not crazy, even if he's a little folksy and kind of running into dementia, like, a lot of people are like, it's whatever, you know, he'll have a cabinet, he'll have a VP, he's not going to do anything too crazy, and they feel safe with that. So what we need to do is, A, we need to show them how he's not the safe candidate, and B, we need to show how Bernie is the safe candidate. So if you're talking to a normie who's like not super politically, you know, up on things, like, you want to emphasize how not radical Bernie is, and how, you know, whether you agree with all his policies or not, he's obviously restrained by Congress. He's not going to get everything he wants done. He's going to fight for the people. That's a good thing, isn't it? But, you know, he's not going to get everything done, so relax. And, you know, he's had integrity the whole time. He knows how to compromise. I mean, he voted for the crime bill, even though he was outspoken against it, because he knows how to compromise. And this is something that, while leftists might be a little irritated by, you know, people more in the norm who want to know that he can compromise might be comforted by, because he does know how to compromise. He voted for that in order to get the violence against women, like, amendment to be included in it. So, you know, he was trying to do some good things with what little leverage one individual congressperson has. And he was the amendment king. So he knows how to compromise. He's not, like, he's one person. Like he says in his rallies, it's not me, us. His power will be determined by the people. So while I hope he's going to, like, clean house and get all the corruption out of the DC and all this stuff we all hope, and he's going to upset the apple cart and fix some stuff, I'm not going to be out here talking to Biden supporters about all that, because that's not going to help. We want to comfort them that, you know, he's pretty normal. And at the same time, Biden is not safe because he will lose to Trump. And this is what we got to drill in. So just imagine, and it'll probably become pretty apparent in the debates with Bernie, but Bernie is a nice guy. Like, he's starting to attack Biden's record, as he should, but he's not going to attack him personally. He's not going to talk about his mental slips. He likes him. He's friends with him. He will not be mean. Trump will be. He will just mock him. And Biden won't know what to do about it. He doesn't even remember, like, how to quote the beginning of the Declaration of Independence. All men are created, well, you know the thing. And then, like, the same day, he's like, and here's my wife and my sister. And he got him wrong. And he's like, wait, I mean, my wife over here and my sister, they switched places. I mean, they didn't switch places. And Trump's going to pick that apart. He's already started. Besides the whole Hunter Biden thing, besides the fact that he's on the floor of Congress saying he wants to cut Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, besides the fact that he voted for the war in Iraq, Trump will hammer him on all these things. Joe's been going to war. This is why this matters. I think I talked about this in a previous segment, but 28% of the country is Republican, 28% is Democrat, 41% is independents, and the independents, the reason they're independent is because they don't like partisanship. It's not because they're in the middle ideologically between the two. But based on polling, we know they lean pretty heavily left, but they're independent because in their mind, they'll vote for either party depending on, you know, who's the right person. So when a Republican can outflank you to the left, that's dangerous. That's why Trump beats Hillary and Biden. He outflanks them to the left. They voted for all these wars and escalations and etc. He's trying to pass a peace deal in Afghanistan to finally get us out of Afghanistan. That's something the left's wanted for a long, long time. That war is old enough to go to war itself. It's like 18 years old at this point. So yes, he's going to get credit for that, and a lot of left-leaning independents will like that. Trump can outflank Biden to the left on a lot of issues. He can't outflank Bernie to the left. This is why Bernie beats him. This is why Bernie wins by 18% with the independents against Trump. And nobody else is going to have that kind of margin. So in your talking with Biden supporters, for the love of God, don't attack them. Like I've talked before about the backfire effect. You want to be friendly and loving and just kind of plant some doubt in their mind. Oh yeah, well, I don't hate Biden. He seems like a good guy. I'm sure I'd like to have coffee with him, but man, I'm so nervous about him getting the nomination because he will so lose to Trump. And your fear is contagious when it's believable. And then if you go on to cite some facts like I just did, now people are like, oh, I don't know about that. He's not feeling so safe and secure anymore. So this is how we attack him. And I think it would be good if Bernie made some noises to try to, I do not want him to compromise or pivot, but he can change his rhetoric to come off as less radical and more appealing to people who just want to return to normalcy. So, and he does, I think the criticism was a little off base because he does do this. I mean, you listen to his rallies and he almost every time he does the whole, is it radical to have health care for everybody? Is it radical to, raise the minimum wage? And everyone's like, no, it's not radical. So, very optimistic about this. We still have every chance to win, but don't get too invested in it. We can only control what we can control. So do the best you can so you have no regrets. And in the future, I'm going to start talking more and more about what you can do individually and as part of a community to make your life better, regardless of who's president. So I am very concerned about Trump, obviously. If he has another 4 years, we have every chance that we'll slide into basically a one-party fascist system because the GOP will have 4 more years to rig elections and put in justices and fire everyone who's not completely loyal to the regime. And, I'm not... Who knows how far that goes? I mean, it might just be that they rig it just enough to keep winning, and it still looks like a democracy. And there's still Democrats who win elections, but the GOP keeps control of all the major levers of power. And that's the worst case. That's the same thing. It's a fascist one-party system when one party controls everything. And they'll only keep ringing in their favor. So it's extremely important we beat Trump. And in order to do that, we need Bernie to win. So let's work for that. Let's do everything we can. And if we fail, we'll have to figure out how to live in that country and how to make change in that country that's going to exist under Trump and the GOP. So we need contingency plans for each scenario is what I'm saying. When you plan for the future, you need contingency plans for each eventuality. So I'm very optimistic about the future. There is always a way to solve problems. One of my core beliefs is every problem has a best solution. And I believe that. Now, some things are in our control and some aren't, but either way, we have a lot of impact on what our life turns out like. So be optimistic, keep up the fight, do some phone banking or texting for Bernie today. If you're near a state that hasn't voted yet, go canvass, and let's do all we can. Thanks.